And one thing that I also want to mention is the importance of intuitive eating. That's something that I'm still trying to work on. And especially as an athlete, I think it can be difficult because working out can sometimes subdue hunger and things like that. But intuitive eating basically works like listening to your body. It kind of goes along with what I said about food neutrality. They work best together. There's a lot of books about both of those things that you can read and that are lovely. Um, but basically, intuitive eating, it allows for your cravings. It allows for everything. You're listening to your body. You're eating when you're hungry. One thing that was very beneficial for me when I went to recovery, and went through recovery and ended up talking with the therapist and things like that, was um, trying to understand what hunger cues were. Because I think that the way that we are kind of taught to look at hunger by diet culture um, is this threat, as this negative thing, as this thing that we need to try to ignore for as long as possible. And that is not true. In fact, that's awful. And learning the signs of like being hungry or like low blood sugar in general, I think that there are so many people that have headaches, um, or just feel tired all the time, and I'm like, you realize that it's probably something about mineral intake or vitamin intake or food intake in general, and so I think that it's really really important. But anyway, going back to intuitive eating, um, you're listening to your body and you're responding to those hunger cues and learning what those hunger cues are for your body and eating at the first sign of hunger, and it allows your body to meet its natural weight, you know? And I think for women it can sometimes be easier to tell what your kind of natural set point weight is because of things like maintaining a menstrual period and maintaining a cycle, things like that. For guys it can be a little bit harder, but I think that when you're practicing intuitive eating, it's not only allows so much freedom because you're just being in tune with yourself and you're being in tune with your body and you're allowing for these cravings and you're allowing yourself to go out and eat certain foods that diet culture or that a diet in general, or that an eating disorder wouldn't allow you to eat. But it also is just providing your body basic, like what it basically needs, you know, in terms of the amount that it needs, in terms of vitamins that it needs. I mean, there's so much research on your body craving certain foods and certain fruits and certain vegetables and certain drinks and certain whatever when it needs it, because your body is very very intelligent and it knows what it needs and it knows what vitamins it's lacking and it knows all of these different things. And so I think that that is very very important, and it's something that I think we all need to strive towards, and it's something that I would recommend reading a lot about, and learning what those hunger cues are for you. And I think that it's also important to note that whether or not you're recovering from an eating disorder, but or or rather, um, if you're just kind of trying to escape the hands of diet culture, that you can't always listen to your hunger signals, which is frustrating because I just said, always listen to your body's hunger signals, intuitive eating, that's so great. But it takes a little bit to get to. And the thing is, when you're trying to restore your metabolic rate, you're going to have to probably eat when you're not hungry, and that can be difficult because then you're like, wait, what? I'm working towards this thing of listening to my body, blah 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 blah. For me, it worked like having a diet plan, um, and a nutritional plan, and I don't mean diet in restrictive sense. I mean like these are the certain amount. This is like a certain amount that you have to eat. Like I had an exchange system where something like like an exchange was like a certain amount of like a food group, like a certain amount of protein or something like that, and I had to have a certain amount of exchanges at each meal and things like that, and I was full all the time. And my digestive system was not great, but it's because my stomach needed that, my metabolic system needed that, my hormones needed that, and so it was necessary for me to undergo that. And so I know that that's kind of a little bit contradictory, but I think that intuitive eating is a privilege and it takes a little bit to get there. And I am also aware that intuitive eating is a privilege not only in the sense of having the right mindset for intuitive eating, but also economics and being able to feed yourself all of the times that you're hungry. Because I think that that is something that is so prevalent, especially in a COVID, in a pandemic world, that, not everybody is able to fully get all of those things. And so I want to acknowledge that as well.